So, what if the real source of all your anxiety, all your worry and suffering, wasn't actually the world around you, but that constant chattering voice inside your own head? Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea that offers a way out of that mental prison, and it does it by changing the very foundation of how you experience reality itself. Our guide for this is Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, a book that sold millions and millions of copies worldwide. And its core idea is pretty radical. It says the root of all human pain isn't our job, our relationships, or our bank account. It's our own mind. Now, this isn't just some abstract philosophical theory. This entire way of thinking was actually born from a single moment of profound personal crisis, a moment that brought the author right to the absolute edge. Can you imagine that? I cannot live with myself any longer. This was the thought that just tormented Eckhart Tolle night after night. See, for years he'd been living in this state of just continuous anxiety and deep suicidal depression. And that one sentence, just repeating over and over in his head, brought him to the very brink. But right there, in that moment of total despair, a thought popped into his head that changed everything. He thought, wait a minute, am I one or am I two? If there's an I that can't live with a self, then who is the real me? I mean, what a strange question, right? It was so unexpected that it just stopped his mind cold. It short-circuited his thinking. And in that silence that followed, a profound transformation began. So what exactly did Tolle discover in that sudden moment of quiet? He realized that the core problem of so much human suffering is our complete, total identification with that nonstop, compulsive voice in our heads. You know, this idea completely flips a cornerstone of Western thought on its head. We've all been taught, I think, therefore I am. We've learned to equate our very existence with the thoughts running through our minds. But Tolle says, no, that is the fundamental mistake. You are not your thoughts. You are the silent awareness that's behind them. And hey, here's the simple test for you. Can you just be free of your mind whenever you want to? Have you found the off button for that voice in your head? If the answer is no, and for most of us it is, Tolle argues that the mind is using you. You've basically become a slave to your own tool without even realizing it. So this unconscious identification creates what Tolle calls the ego. It's not you, it's a kind of phantom self, built out of old memories, future worries, and all the labels we cling to. And here's the thing about the ego. It can only survive by replaying the past and worrying about the future. That is exactly why it's the source of almost all of our fear and suffering. It literally cannot exist in the present moment. Now, this compulsive thinking doesn't just create mental chatter. It has a really powerful emotional side of it too. Over time, all that negativity accumulates into a heavy burden of past pain that, well, we carry with us everywhere we go. Tolle has a name for this accumulation. He calls it the pain body. The best way to think about it is like a shadow self. It's made up of every painful emotion you've ever felt but didn't fully face or process at the time. And this negative energy field becomes this almost living entity inside you, just waiting for a trigger to wake up and start feeding. So how do you know when the pain body is active? Well, it can be triggered by almost anything. A small comment, a memory, and it shows up as all these heavy negative states. Irritation, anger, even just a desire for drama. Its only goal is to survive, and it survives by feeding on experiences that create more of its own energy, which is, you guessed it, more pain. And this creates this incredibly powerful, vicious cycle. It starts with a negative thought, which then leads to a painful feeling in your body. But then, the energy from that feeling fuels more negative thoughts, which in turn makes the emotion even stronger. And round we go, completely trapped in a loop of our own making. Okay, so if our minds have created this prison of thoughts and painful emotions, how in the world do we get out? The key, Tolle says, isn't to fight your mind. It's to discover something much deeper that lies just beyond it. Tolle uses this really simple story to explain our situation. He says we're all just like that beggar. We're sitting on a box that's absolutely filled with treasure, but we're completely unaware of it. We spend our lives looking outside ourselves for little scraps of happiness or security, all while ignoring the incredible wealth we already possess inside. So what is this treasure? It's presence. It's that state of pure, conscious awareness that exists right underneath all the noise of our minds. It's there before your mind rushes in to label and judge everything. And this incredible treasure can only be found in one place and at one time, right here in the now. Look, I know this might all sound a bit abstract, but accessing this treasure, this presence, doesn't require years and years of meditation. It actually begins with one simple, powerful exercise you can do at any moment, even right now. This is the core practice. He calls it watching the thinker. You just start listening to that involuntary monologue that's always going on inside your head. But here's the key. You listen to it impartially, no judgment. And when you do this, you'll soon realize something amazing. There's the voice, and then there's you, listening to it. That listener, that silent witness, that is your deeper self. That is presence. See, by simply observing the thought without getting carried away by it, you break your identification with it. And suddenly that thought loses its power over you. This simple act creates a gap in the constant stream of thinking. And in that little gap of no mind, even if it only lasts for a few seconds, you get to experience the stillness and peace that is always there, just waiting beneath the surface. So we'll leave you with this one final, really powerful question to think about. Right now, in this very moment, there's a voice in your head commenting on what you're hearing. The question is, are you completely lost in that voice, believing you are that voice? Or are you the silent awareness that's just noticing it? Because in that choice, right there, lies the entire secret to the power of now.